Hello everyone, I'm Kirsty Watson and this is the 5th storytelling video and the 5th Let's Write a Story challenge. So I'm here this morning to share a Telltale Tots favourite. It's called The Monster Party, and if you look behind me here, we're back in the enchanted forest from the other day, but this time it's night time. Can you see the stars in the sky? That's because the monster party happens at night, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that at the minute. Can anyone see who's behind me here? That's right, there's some little monsters having a little bit of a party behind me. You have to keep your eye on them while I'm talking. Good morning, hello. Well, shall we make a start with the story? Let's have a look. There's a monster party that happens every year, and little monsters travel from far and wide to join the fun. But shh, it's a secret. The party is held by moonlight because monsters only come out in the dark, in a secret location, for monsters are very secretive things. Can you see? Little monsters love to party. They talk, they laugh, they sing, they dance, they play, and they enjoy lots of yummy monster treats. They always have a wonderful time. You see, what are they eating there? Do you think that looks very delicious? I'm not sure about that. One night, a little monster and his mummy and daddy were getting ready to go to the secret monster party. There they are, look. His mummy, his daddy, and his little monster. How do you think little monster's looking here? Little monster was feeling a little bit nervous. In fact, he didn't want to go. Do I have to go? He asked. I don't really like monsters, or parties, or monster food. But you are a little monster, laughed Mummy Monster. How could you not like monsters? Because other monsters are strange, said Little Monster. Some are hairy, some are slobbery, and some are hairy and slobbery at the same time. But Daddy is hairy and a bit slobbery, and you like him, don't you? Asked Mummy Monster. I suppose so, said Little Monster. But other monsters have too many eyes, and you never know what they're looking at. But I have got lots of eyes, and you like me, don't you? Asked Mummy Monster. I suppose so, said Little Monster, but other monsters are like giants. They're so big you have to worry whether they're going to squish you all the time. But Grandad is a giant monster and you like him, don't you? Asked Mummy Monster. Yes, said Little Monster, but other monsters are very small and you have to worry if you're going to squish them. But your best friend, Tiny, is a little monster and you like him, don't you? I suppose I do, said Little Monster, but I still don't like monster food. Now, even though he was a little bit scared, Little Monster went along to the party with his mummy and daddy. They crept out by the light of the moon and they found their way quietly until they reached the woods. Then they followed the secret signs that led them to the secret party. Do we have the right place? Asked Little Monster. Seems far too quiet. Mummy Monster tapped 3 times on a strange shaped tree. and the secret monster party magically appeared. Let's count to 3 together and see if we can make it appear. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3. Here we are. Little Monster looked all around. There were monsters of all shapes and sizes. There were monsters of every colour. Some feathered, some furry, some lumpy. Some had many eyes and some had just one. Some had big sharp teeth and some had none at all. Some had legs and some slithered like a snail. But they were all smiling, and the little monster found that he was no longer scared. He made lots of lovely new friends. He laughed, he sang, he danced, he played, and he ate all kinds of delicious monster treats. Doesn't that look like fun? All too soon though, it was time to go home. So the little monster said goodbye to his little friends. Can you wave goodbye? Wave goodbye to the monsters. See, that wasn't so bad, was it? Asked Mummy Monster. It was brilliant, said Little Monster. Can we go again? Are you sure you won't be scared? Asked Mummy Monster. I will not be scared, said Little Monster, and I won't be scared to try anything new ever again. There they are, look. On their way home. Oh, good, said Mummy Monster, because there are lots more yummy monster foods to try. Oh, great. I love monster food, said Little Monster, as he turned just a little bit green. There they are, look. Do you think that looks delicious? I'm not sure about that either. I think I'm with Little Monster on that. And that is the end of the monster party. Did you enjoy listening to that story? If you did, I hope it's given you some lovely ideas for your own story writing. Which brings me on to your next writing challenge. If you've been with me from the beginning, this is now your 5th writing challenge. And this is when we're going to start to put it all together. Now let me show you. I've got a little template here to show you. I just dropped it on the floor, so bear with me just 1 second. Okay, so your next challenge is to get writing your story from start to finish. So all the other tasks that we've done before now have led up to this point, and now it's time to draft your story. So drafting means writing. And if you have a look on my website, Ask Your Grown Up to get this for you. I've got a very simple storybook writing template that you can use. And it starts with this. I'll see if you can see here. This is the cover template. So this is where you can have a go at designing your front cover and your back cover. It's at the front, but I usually do that last, to be honest. And then inside are some writing templates here, lovely. Get them the right way round. At the bottom here, there's some space for you to write your story, and at the top here is a space for you to illustrate your story. Now, when we talk about drafting, that basically means writing it down for the first time. So the first time you write it down, that's called your first draft. And now this is something I tend to do all in one go. Once I've got my ideas together, I'll sit down and just write it down. Can't worry too much about whether it's nice and neat or whether I've got all my spellings perfect. It's just about getting the first draft written down. Because then is a very important part of the process. It's called editing. So this is the process of polishing, perfecting, improving your writing. And I know lots of children often get a bit frustrated about this. but it is a very important part of the process, and it's important to know that not even grown-ups get their first draft absolutely perfect. Editing is so important. So your first task is to write your story. Your second task is to give it a nice polish, a nice edit, and make it that it's the best it can possibly be. And you can use this storybook making template, and if you'd like to, you can add some illustrations as well. So what I do after I've written my first draft is I tend to have a little rest. So I'll walk away and leave it for a few hours or maybe even a couple of days before coming back to giving it the edit, because sometimes you have some brilliant ideas when you're not even thinking about writing. Now, unfortunately, there's no easy peasy way of doing this, but the good news is the more that you do it, the easier that it gets. So let's get those drafts down. Who's up for this challenge? Who's going to give this a bit of a go and write down their story? Fantastic. So get those stories drafted, get them edited, and then in the next video, we're going to talk about how we can make this look absolutely fantastically beautiful and make it into our very own storybook. So we're going to get a bit crafty in the next video. And for those of you that have stuck with me to the end, I'm going to enter everybody's storybooks into a prize draw for a very special prize, and I'll release some more details about that soon, but it's going to be very exciting. Now, please do keep in touch with me along the way, because I love to hear how you've been getting on. Ask your grown-up to drop me a message, send me a picture of your wonderful stories that you've been working on, and I'll be sure to give you a big shout out on one of my next videos. Which brings me on to my last point. I did say in my last video that this was going to be the last one, but I've decided I'm going to give everybody a bit of a preview of a brand new story. Well, it's not new because it has been read at Telltale Tots before, but it is going to be a storybook later this year. So it would be very unusual for an author to read a story that's going to be released, but I am going to give you a little preview. The story is called Jungle Scrumble. So some of you Telltale Tots might recognise this, but I've got some beautiful illustrations now for this story that have been done by a very clever illustrator called Oana. But I'll tell you more about that next week, and I hope you'll tune in for my jungle themed storytelling session and our final Let's Write a Story challenge. Now, if you're watching now, give me a nice like, give me a comment, and if you're watching it later, please do too, because it's so nice for me to know that you've been listening and enjoying my stories. It's been lovely to see you all. Thank you for everybody that's tuned in this morning, and I shall be back on Tuesday morning for genuinely the final instalment of Let's Write a Story. I hope you'll join me then. Goodbye everyone, enjoy your weekend. Bye.